Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. We will go ahead and get our meeting started. Welcome to our June 10th Board of Education meeting. TJ, if you'll start with roll call, please.
Mrs. Best is absent. Mrs. Davis.
Present.
Mrs. Epling-Skinner is absent. Ms. Harless.
Present.
Mrs. Hudson.
Present. Although you probably gathered our names, I'll still do introductions. To my far left is Board Vice President Kelly Davis, our Treasurer TJ Cusick. My name is Nikki Hudson. I have the privilege of serving as the Board President this year. To my right, Superintendent Dr. Bowers and Board Member Stephanie Harless. If you will please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve our agenda tonight.
So moved.
You want to be my, you'll be my second.
Yep,
I actually
second,
did.
sorry,
I think you're
second.
totally good. You're totally good. Will you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Harless.
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes. Should we move on to the first recognition, or do you want me to? Is Scott Brown with us tonight? I'm going to take that as a no, and we are going to move on to the first Board of Education recognition. It's all yours, Kelly. We do have to do the motion. Thank you. Could I receive a recommendation for a motion to recognize Chauncey Hilson for winning the Central Ohio Interscholastic Administrators Association Horizon Award?
So moved. Second.
Will you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Harless.
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes. Motion carries. It's your turn to shine.
It's your turn. Is this on? See?
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like it's on. Is this on? Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes, it's on.
Sorry. Testing. Hi. How are you? Good. I'm Kelly. Nice to meet you. Good. This is Chauncey Hilson. He is our Assistant Athletic Director at Kilbourne High School. And we're recognizing you today for the Horizon Award for up-and-coming athletic directors from the Central Ohio Athletic Administrators Association. So the Horizon Award is presented to an active athletic director who has demonstrated within their first 5 years signs of professionalism and involvement, which has made a difference in their school or conference. So we're joined here by Athletic Director Jeff Todd, and Eric Thomas. So we just want to recognize you as a board. Family members gave us feedback and how present you are, how attentive to detail you are, your involvement with Wolves Inc., and just lucky to have you. So we are here to congratulate you. And I'm asked the principal and athletic director if they want to say a few words, and then you can too if you want to. Okay.
This is your evaluation. So. Hi, I'm Eric Thomas, principal at Worthington Kilbourne High School, and many of you may know, being at an athletic event, it takes a lot of undertaking to put on events throughout the school year, and we brought Chauncey into Worthington Kilbourne, and he hit the ground running. Like Kelly said, he is present with students, with families. He's very good at managing events, managing people. I think managing people is the most difficult thing. He even manages me when we're doing events and puts us in the right spot so that we're all being successful. He's mature beyond his years. He does a great job for our students and staff and our overall community. We're excited to have Chauncey with us, and this reward or award that he's receiving is just a small gesture of all of the work that he does behind the scenes in a day-to-day operation. But most importantly, it's fun to see him interacting with kids and coaches, and he does such a great job. It comes natural to him. And again, congratulations, Chauncey. Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to thank the board for the recognition and all those in attendance. It's a great opportunity to be employed in the district of Worthington. The family members, the students, the staff, the community have all been welcoming. It's a pleasure to do the job. It's fun to work or be employed in a career or field where you enjoy what you do, and that's my day-to-day. So it's a privilege. Again, to be an employee, it's a privilege to work with Jeff and Eric, and to see you all on a daily basis. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I would like to recommend a motion to recognize the Warbots 4145 team for participating and accomplishing a great deal in the 2023-24 competition season.
So moved.
Second.
Would you please call for the vote?
Ms. Harless.
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes.
Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Excellent. As no surprise, the motion carries. Would you mind handing me? Thank you. It's our pleasure to recognize and celebrate the Warbots 4145 team this evening. At this time, I'd like to invite, and we will go back again to the rear of the room because you guys obviously have a demo plan, but at this time, I'd like to invite all the students who are here this evening up front, as well as Coach John Baird. Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We'll make room. Come on in. I love it. I love it. Please join us, Coach. Yep. So this high-achieving team won several awards during the 23-24 competition season and actually just came off of a win last weekend. Am I correct? Very impressive. A few things that I want to highlight. First of all, it's really impressive that this program that started in 2012 with less than 12 members is now, you guys are a team of 26. Incredibly impressive. And in addition to that, they qualified for the world competition for a second time. I was also pleased to learn that you guys are all interested in a career in STEM and noted that your participation in this on this team has significantly contributed to that interest. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Coach, if that's okay, and ask you to introduce your team members that are present. And I will just say before, a heartfelt congratulations, and we're really, really looking forward to it. I think everyone who walked in tonight was really excited to see that you brought your robot with us. So I will pass it to you, Coach.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say thanks for all the support from the Board of Education, the community, the parents and the mentors, and I certainly want to thank all of the kids. They knew this was new for me, and they really stepped up to the challenge. I said, this is going to be your team this year, and they did a wonderful job. I also want to thank assistant coach Jared Weisgerber. He helped out greatly. And Natalie, I'm going to have you come in and introduce the team because you are the business person and you are the expert. Drive team, come out. Jared, you can come out too. You can take the mic.
So
Yeah, you can. Yep.
So we have Coach Baird, and then Claire Rhodes, our co-driver last year and our incoming technical president. Curtis Henderson, Jameson Glitch, Emily Foster, Lacia Lasala, Hannah Carney, Josh Weisgerber, Braden Vantel, Cy Emmons, Maximilian Wright, Isaac Hirschhorn, Quinn O'Brien, our assistant coach Jared Weisgerber, and then Megan Vargas and Andrea Pascaret. And that's our team.
Huge round of applause.
And thank you to Natalie for getting all those names down straight. Thank you very much. That's why I handed the mic off to her.
I love it. I suspect we should all turn our eyes to the back of the room. Would you like us to do that? Or are you planning on bringing it up front? Either way is fine. You want to bring it up front? I love that because then people who are tuning in may be able to see a little bit of it.
You want it, Jared?
Yeah.
Jared is our designer and fabrication coach, so I know he can do a lot of explaining about how the robot operates and the systems and everything.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jared Weisgerber. I am the assistant coach here at the Warbot, so I handle everything technical. These students, some of the brightest young minds that you will see in Worthington, in the U.S., and the world. So you'll see they'll bring up the robot. This is a culmination of several months dedicated to the exploration of STEM and learning how to assemble a very, very competitive prototype and, turn that into a highly competitive robot that will compete and has competed on the world stage. So they will go ahead and bring it on up for you. So do mind your feet, everybody, but our drivers are quite experienced with this. Yeah, so you might have seen how relatively quickly that robot moved up here. It is capable of what, 4 times that, Joshua?
I was going to ask,
It's
how fast is it?
quite quick. At a maximum speed, this robot can move at about 17 feet per second. So it's darn quick. Beyond that, this robot has somewhere in the order of 15 to 16 motors, depending on which version you're looking at. This one, I believe, is set up with 15 motors. 8 of those motors are dedicated solely to the drivetrain, so how the robot moves around. And then we have more motors dedicated to actually lifting the elevator. Josh, if you want to go ahead and do that. Or Claire. So that's the elevator, and you could also see that the shooter head would pivot. That's how the robot can score. So it lifts up, and it will angle down that shooter in order to deposit a ring into what's called the amp. This year's theme was called Crescendo. It's very musical themed. So you could score in 2 different ways. You could score in picking up notes. Go ahead and pick up a note for us. Pick up notes, and then it would go to the amp, which is a small cutout about 3 feet off the ground. Go ahead and go back to the amp pose for me. It would pop up like that, drive up to it, deposit it into the amp, and then, if we go ahead and pick up the note again, the robot also could score into a device called the speaker. You good? Camera. So, do you want to demo that, Joshua? You want to demo that or no? Yeah. Okay. Another thing that we can do with the robot is there's actually cameras on the robot. So this one up here will aim the robot when it's prompted to, but you can click a button on the controller, and it will turn the robot. It will automatically detect where the goal is in order to score, and it will also automatically adjust how fast to spin up the wheels in the shooter. So these shooter wheels you can hear, go ahead and do an auto target. I don't think it will like to target, there's no target. So right there, you can hear that it spins up. It thinks that the goal is super far away because we don't actually have a goal. It's called, the thing that it actually targets is called an April tag. And that's something that companies use in industry. I did an internship with a construction company, and they used April tags at the work environment, at the construction site, in order to do computer vision. That's what this robot does. So our team, there it goes shooting. So our team uses industry standard operations in order to create a competitive robot. I think that sums it up for what I wanted to talk about.
A huge round of applause for. Really is truly impressive. Do you think maybe you could park the robot so it could be included in our photo? I love it. We'll get a quick picture, and then as just a token of our recognition, we also have certificates for each of you. Just know that we are incredibly proud of the work, the hard work that you put into this, and are really excited with your minds behind the future of STEM.
Can I get you in 2 lines? So you're a little more compact. Okay. They squeeze in just a little bit more. Great. Here we go. Terrence, you good? Oh, that's awesome. Keep smiling, Brent. Great. Thanks so much. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
All right, at this time, I'd like to invite Scott Brown to the podium. Scott is the regional liaison for the State of Ohio Auditor, and he is going to present the district with its Auditor of State Award with distinction for the 2023-24 school year. Welcome, Scott. Sorry.
No, and I apologize that I can't beat the last presentation. So, yes, it is my pleasure to be here this evening, and thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak. My name is Scott Brown, and I do serve State Auditor Keith Faber as his Central Ohio liaison. What that really means is I'm your customer service representative for the State Auditor's Office. I usually tell people I can navigate our 800 to 900 employees faster than most people outside of our agency can. So usually with treasurers and other fiscal types, I'm the guy they call first to get through the bureaucracy. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to present your district with an award, the Audit of State Award from Auditor Faber. What you need to know is this award actually puts your district into a very select group. Approximately 6,000 entities are audited by our office every year, and just 4% of those entities qualify for this award. The Auditor of State Award with distinction is presented to local governments, school districts, and other entities upon the completion of a financial audit that meet the following criteria to be considered a clean audit report. The entity must file financial reports with the auditor's office by a statutory due date without extension on a GAAP accounting basis and prepare a comprehensive annual financial report. The audit report does not contain any findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, uniform guidance findings, or other question costs. To cut through auditor speak, what this really means is that the Worthington City School District staff, this represents the hard work of the staff and its employees who make every effort each day to attain accounting excellence. We'd like to recognize the board and the fiscal office that have done an outstanding job watching over every dollar. What this truly means is that across the entire organization, you have the people and the processes in place that understand fiscal accountability. Specifically, we want to recognize TJ for his leadership, professionalism, and exceptional commitment to fiscal integrity. So on behalf of Auditor Faber, I'd like to present the Worthington City School District the Award of State with Distinction. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do want to say real quick, he said it fast, but there are two groups of people. Our staff, in particular, Brian Cocker, our assistant treasurer, we're one of the few districts that still does their financial statements in-house. We don't contract that out. Brian does an amazing job. But more importantly, all of our administrative secretaries at our buildings and in our central office who do purchase orders, pay invoices, handle cash, they're the ones at the front line that make all this happen. Without them, we wouldn't be standing here. So for all of them, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I get a quick picture of you two?
Can you do that?
Great, thank you. TJ, on behalf of the entire board, congratulations to you and your team. Very impressive. That brings us to visitor comments. And it looks like we have some because Vicky's coming around. So if you'll bear with me, I will read just a few of our notes for instructions in this section. The board and administrative staff encourage and appreciate community interest in meetings of the Board of Education. This section of the agenda is designed to hear the views of community members about their schools and items on the agenda. Each speaker will be asked to address the board at the visitors' podium so that the speaker's remarks may be heard clearly heard. The speaker should give their name, street address, and limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Consistent with our policy 9130 on public complaints, we ask that complaints about particular employees be referred to the superintendent and not addressed during public session. We remind all speakers that our district values and respects all people as they are, and that our district is committed to creating and maintaining safe spaces for all of our students and community members. We want to remind our community that we value public input and always appreciate when our community members remember our district values, refraining from using harmful or offensive language, and for sharing your concerns in a civil and respectful manner. Please note it's not our normal practice to respond to remarks during the visitor comment section of our meeting. And with that, Ms. Jennifer No, I gave one too.
Okay, good evening. So to our warbots, again, thank you for coming. Feel free to pack up as I'm speaking, seriously. So don't worry about that. We do appreciate you. We want you to have a great summer. So our mission in Worthington Schools is to empower a community of learners who will change the world. We work to do that through 4 vision statements. And so our first vision statements, we will engage each student with diverse opportunities to maximize every student's potential. So our summer school in Worthington began last week, June 3rd. We have over 1,600 students who will be in school and learning throughout the month of June. So we're excited about that. Lunch is available for our students at Slate Hill Elementary and Perry Middle School. We're the 14th largest school district in Ohio, and even when school is technically out for summer break, we have more students in school learning than many districts in Ohio have in school during the school year. So we have a really good month of June planned for our students. Our second vision statements, we will provide a safe environment where every student can grow intellectually, emotionally, socially, and physically. Last Monday, our cabinet team met with the Board of Education for almost 5 hours in this room in order to review our goals from 23-24 and work to set goals for the 24-25 school year. So we're in the process of refining those goals right now and hope to have them finalized by the end of this month, and we'll be able to make them public at that point. Our third vision statements, we will provide consistent communication and promote dialogue with our community. So residents throughout the school district should check your mailboxes late this week for our summer newsletter, which is full of information and recognition for our retiring educators. So that should be out in all mailboxes. And secondly, most people have seen, but on Saturday morning, the Southwestern City Schools Board of Education voted unanimously to name Worthington Assistant Superintendent Randy Banks as their next superintendent of schools. So we're excited for Southwestern and excited for Randy and his family. And then finally, we'll be responsible and transparent with our community resources. So this summer, construction continues at Thomas Worthington, Worthington Kilbourne, and on the natatorium. The projects remain on time and on budget. This week, we hope to close the deal on the former Sinise Services Amazon building and begin renovations on that facility in order to consolidate transportation, landscape, and facilities maintenance, and our warehouses spaces into our new Worthington Operations Center. So that project will continue into the fall, and we hope for full occupancy early in 2025. Additionally, as we've communicated before, but if you've been over to Liberty Elementary, we are completing a total replacement of our play structures at Liberty. So that's in progress right now. And if you are here at the Worthington Education Center, you couldn't miss that a new roof is currently being installed here at the Worthington Education Center. So lots going on this summer. President Hudson, that's my report.
Thanks, Dr. Bowers. Kelly, Stephanie, any questions or comments?
Just that I got a picture of Liberty's playground being
Very
undone.
impressive.
And a student who was sad, like his childhood, it's just a new era.
Oh,
right?
being undone. You mean
Undone.
yes,
Yeah,
it is always
the
hard to,
present,
yes.
playground structures that are being taken down in order to enhance what's there. So just, he was like, oh, my childhood. But I'm excited to see it.
Anything on your end? Okay, thanks again, Dr. Bowers. Mr. Cusick, the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Just a few quick items. The monthly financial report for May has been distributed and is posted on our website. We're trending in line with projections for our general fund, but unfortunately, we still experience higher than expected medical claims in our self-insurance fund. We're now sitting about 8% over budget. So that likely will impact us as we move to set rates later this summer in August. But on a positive note, as Dr. Bowers mentioned, construction progress continues. Few change orders were issued in May. We're still sitting comfortably at a little under $7 million in contingency. So we're good on that front. Trent also mentioned that we close on Bush Boulevard. We're awaiting the closing documents so that we can review and sign off on those and hopefully settle that up this week. And then lastly, I met with Don Taylor regarding our website redesign that's happening. So I just mentioned that if there are any reports or any information that anyone or any of the board would like to see on the treasurer's site, I'm always open. Feel free to let me know. And lastly, I do work on the third floor, so I'm well aware that the roof is being replaced.
Thank you, Mr. Cusick. And thanks for the additional information regarding insurance. Any questions or comments? Okay, excellent. Thank you. That moves us to board committee reports and announcements. I know that we've had a goal-setting session in between our last meeting and this meeting, so I would just say the insurance committee is the only one that met during that time and really received an update on everything that was shared at the goal-setting committee and as TJ shared tonight, so I don't have anything else to report. Stephanie, anything on your end?
Just a few things. I'm just going to keep it brief because I think we can have a larger conversation when everybody's here.
Okay.
So obviously we went to graduation, so I just one more time want to say congratulations to the 2024 graduates. I know all the hard work it took for every single one of them to walk that stage, so that's awesome. One thing I will note is the Worthington City Council voted to place Rebecca Herman as the Worthington City Schools liaison. So we have that position officially on City Council now. So I'm looking forward to working with her and you know, with other people, but as the Worthington liaison, I'm sure we'll have a lot of conversations. So I think that's a really important move for them and for us. I think we need to be a little more closely aligned, not just with Worthington, with our entire school district, but what's happening there. So I think that'll be helpful moving forward. The city council did release their housing report, so I'll talk more about that in a future meeting when we have everybody. And again, still moving forward on the levy for the pool, not officially, but putting all the things in place for that so we can dig into that in more detail. So that's all I have.
Excellent, thank you. How about on your end, Kelly?
I didn't have any committees. Again, we had graduation, which was wonderful. I just want to highlight, I really did enjoy Emily speaking during Worthington Kilbourne's graduation. I thought that was really meaningful to the students and families there. It was just a nice touch to see that. And I always love, my favorite part is when the staff, teachers, administrators hand diplomas to students. And I think it demonstrates that students are connected somewhere. It's not always a teacher. There were principals that were giving diplomas. There were security monitors that were giving diplomas. It was just a wonderful sight to see. And I always get excited because the people giving the diplomas are equally as excited as the student. And so I think it's such a true honor for them to be asked. And so I love that it's a tradition that we do here because it's not done everywhere. And just like you said, Nikki, we had the goal setting. Just being grateful to be part of that conversation, to be able to hear enthusiastically everything that our administration does and the progress that they all made on their goals last year for our district to make it better. And then just being able to give feedback and have input in goals for 24-25 going forward. So I look forward to what the end result will be and just how we as a board can support those goals moving forward. So that's all I have. Oh, we're closed, right? The schools and offices are closed 1 week from Wednesday for Juneteenth. So just so you know, June 19th is a day that we are all closed and off for that day. So just a pause to reflect and celebrate.
Excellent, thank you very much. That brings us to approval of minutes. So that's your area, TJ.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the minutes from the June 6th work session as presented in enclosure D1, please.
So moved.
Second.
Would you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Harless,
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2, I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the appropriation transfers, modifications as presented in the agenda. This is general fund cross-object transfers that net to zero.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? If you'll please call for the vote.
Ms. Harless,
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Great, motion carries.
Up next, I would like to recommend that the district's 403B plan, to recommend that we amend the district's 403B plan document in accordance with the Internal Revenue Code as described in enclosure E1. I will say this is simply, every district has a document on file with the IRS that governs 403B, which is the public sector equivalent of a 401k. Amending this allows our employees to tax shelter more of their severance payment. Cost the district nothing. This is simply an administrative option to allow them to place more of their severance into a tax deferred shelter. So the motion to amend the district's 403B plan document as described in enclosure E1.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Would you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Motion carries. Dr. Bowers.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda. Those are items F2 through F12 in your agenda. Again, items F2 through F12, please.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments? You'll please call for the vote, TJ.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve item G1. Item G1 is the approval of the donations that are listed on the agenda. Item G1, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments regarding the donations? Would you please call for the vote, TJ?
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve item G2. Item G2 is the approval of an easement for the City of Worthington water line to Thomas Worthington High School. Item G2, approval of the easement for water, please.
So moved.
Second. Water would be good. Would you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to section 8. I would like to request a motion to approve the adoption of curriculum resources as presented on the May 13th, 2024, during the May 13th, 2024 board meeting agenda. The administration recommends the adoption of curriculum material for the instructional program. Resources were recommended or are being recommended for science, physical science, and biology. And the textbooks were on display at the Worthington Public Libraries and the Worthington Education Center here from May 13th until May 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Would you please call for the vote?
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'd like to recommend a motion to approve an amendment to the contract of Dr. Bowers, the superintendent, as it relates to his selection to participate in the Google G5V Education Innovation Summit for the 2024-2025 school year as presented in enclosure H2.
So moved.
Second.
Congratulations, Dr. Bowers. We please call for the vote.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless?
Yes.
Motion carries. Very excited for that. That brings us to request questions or concerns from the board. Anything for our small group tonight?
Not tonight.
All right. As seeing nothing, we'll review the calendar. Our next meeting is on June 24th, followed by July 10th. I will note for everyone that July 10th is the 7:30 a.m. meeting that we often need for employment purposes. And then we go back to our regularly scheduled July 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Any questions or concerns regarding our upcoming meetings?
Because July 10th is a Wednesday. Just to know
Correct.
that it's
Thank
not a
you.
Monday.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
7:30 and a Wednesday, just
And a
to
Wednesday.
keep
Lots
us
of
all on our
changes.
toes. All right. There being no further business, I will make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Would you please call for the vote?
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Harless.
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight.